Mary Kay, you had a question?
Well, I appreciate what you said about Google and too much information and sitemaps because they will kill a category. And I've seen PPC costs just climb and climb and climb. I've seen that over time. And I really think there's a real, honestly, I know everybody loves to use Google Analytics, but I never just used Google Analytics. You know, I used a couple of different things. And
Because you're thinking that you're giving them too much information.
I'm giving them too much information, and it's very, you know, and I think though, but I blew that because I put the site webmaster tool. So, you know,
That's the thing they get.
you know, and that's the thing that gives them the most information. But I really, really believe, you know, in very recent experience that you really have to be careful about that. That they can really kill a category. They can really drive up a cost, you know, and I think that's a really valid point. I know there's been a couple of articles out that lately about the, you know, they're even making it easy for you to do PPC. They don't really want you to think the way all the stuff, they keep changing AdWords every single week. So you can try and learn it, but you can't, you know, I don't know how many of you guys have you tested, I want to say conversion optimizer, but have you tested the thing that's like the bidding solution that keeps running? I tested that a couple of times and it just did not help at all.
Yeah, they end up just making more money.
They end up
Google ends
making more money. I mean,
that's
really,
their optimization. Like, how can we, yeah, I've done that too.
Yeah.
really, I mean, it's a really valid point that you make, you know, over the years. And I think, you know, I'm starting a new job tomorrow, so I don't know if I'm going to advocate.
You're starting a new job, did you say?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Oh,
So,
good for you.
you know, so I don't know if I'm going to advocate going into webmaster tools, but we'll see how it goes.
You know, they get, if you're using analytics, or if you're even just using AdWords, you know, I mean, they have enough information on you. I was afraid to use Google Analytics when it first came out too for the same reason, but they get you eventually, and it's awesome. I mean, Google Analytics is great. It's worth whatever information they get. And if you're not doing anything bad, you know, which we don't, then I don't worry about it too much. I mean, if you're doing something bad, I'd be worried about it.
Yeah, but Jill, when you're in categories, you know, when you have PPC costs that could be anywhere from $24 to $75 to $100 a click. You can bet, really, honestly, I'm living proof. I don't want to say anything. I'm just saying I have seen the way that they will play with those categories when you're talking really high cost to make money, and they will.
Yeah, I believe that.
And so, you know, I think it's a really valid point. I think it's a very valid point that you brought up. I'll just take a second.
It's a balancing act.
It is. You know, the other thing I wanted to say is that, Jill, what do you think about this? What about when a competitor has a site where they don't necessarily, it's not their site, but they have a keyword phrase, but it's a .org, and then they use their content, but they recycle it. Then they use, they use tags so that they get other competitors to put content up, but those links don't pass any value. So then they're spamming the search results under a keyword phrase, and it's very sophisticated, very sexy, because you can't really tell that it's actually linked to this company, and it becomes kind of like an information portal. But they really are creating a whole other site to kind of kill a keyword phrase set, and it's. What do you think about those? You've seen a few of those, haven't you?
I think I'd have to see it. I'm not quite sure.
Okay, so if you had a keyword phrase and it instead of set, and it would be like .org.
And it's just an informational site.
It's just an informational site.
But then does it just have AdWords on it, or does it link? I mean, AdSense.
No AdSense. It's all just articles, maybe a little bit of AdSense.
But then they've got like keyword-rich links pointing to the real site.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they
that's
put,
just
no follows on your competitors' links so that they don't get any link juice off of them, right? And then they all get the link juice that only goes to their site. I mean, it's all. Well, no. I'm asking you, what is your? Do you think
I wouldn't
that's
do it. Yeah, I mean, I think so, I would guess, I mean, if it's not original, is it original content? I mean, if it's actually good original content, but if they're just taking other people's articles.
No, they're just taking other people's
Then no.
article and they're repackaging
Yeah,
their own
then-
articles.
Then that's just junk, you know, I mean, if it was valuable content, then sure, that's fine.
Well, I mean, their content could be perceived as valuable, they think it is. but-
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's what gets found.
But anyway,
He has
just
a
curious.
question
Can I
now.
take a survey?
Yeah.
How many of you have received spam emails from people offering offshore SEO services? Automated link building, automated article writing.
All the time.
Ask who has it.
Yeah, and how many of you are using offshore services to do your SEO work?
Don't.
So that's interesting, yeah. If somebody is using them, there must be somebody using them. That's probably where a lot of.
Especially a link building, it seems, those, you know, the link builders are the, I get clients that say, you know, should we do this? They, you know, they go, they talk to these people and they're like, we can get you 1,000 links for, you know, $10.
But the people who are sending out spam emails, I mean, they're probably not ethically restrained from spamming links.
No, of course not, but that's what people don't get.
Well, what are we gonna do about this? What can be done to stop
I have no, just do good. Yeah, let's kill them.
Can I just say, on your topic there, I have blogged about this. I have on Facebook, I have thousands and thousands of followers. On Twitter, I have told people stay away from that. Clients of mine, and they believe it, and they'll spend the money and then come back to me and say, you were right. You know, it's unbelievable how many corporations and companies, big companies, will do it.
Again, I saw a situation like that, which was what we call deep subcontracting. Josh coined the phrase. Josh Kennedy. It was a deep subcontracting. Like one person hires someone else who hires someone else. And eventually it gets down with like less and less ethics at each level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And eventually it ends up like somewhere in
Yeah.
somewhere.
Russia.
And it's just total link spam. And then the end client's site is spam.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, you know, my feeling is buyer beware too. That's why, you know, when you say, what are we gonna do about it? It's not our problem to do anything about it. We do our stuff, we do good, and if people are dumb enough to pay for this stuff and do it, you know, good, too bad for them. That's kind of my feeling. But this gentleman back here got a question on that.
Yeah, I have a recent experience that may have been a boondoggle. I'd like to get your reaction and everyone else's. For about the past 5 or 6 months, I've just discontinued this, and after much internal debate, I decided to pay, I'm not an SEO, but I do that for the company that I work for. I decided to pay $500 a month for external link building services. I was more worried about being penalized than, I was more worried about the risk than I was going after the potential benefit, which is why the budget was pretty modest. There seemed to be a little bit of movement. They were targeting 3 terms. In the most important term, there seemed to be a little bit of movement. We went from maybe position 7 to position 5 or 6. The other 2 secondary terms, there was really no movement in. I decided, and also just the company was a little bit strange and different account managers, and I just never kind of understood what was going on there with the reporting. But I decided to pull the plug on that. I dropped 1 rank for the most important term. It was an inconclusive experience for me. And I don't know if the drop in the rank was a result of having stopped the campaign or having the campaign, the negative effects catch up with me.
1 position, like from 4 to 5 or something?
Like
You can't even-
5 to 7.
It doesn't mean, I mean, that's normal fluctuations. I don't think you can read anything into those kinds of fluctuations.
Well, in principle, for link building as a specific tactic, philosophically and pragmatically, what is your take on that? And also, looking at our competitors who are pretty consistently at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are, using Yahoo Site Explorer, there are thousands and thousands of inbound links above us, and I know that means different things for different keyword phrases, but they're, these are direct competitors, we're targeting the same phrases. Is there any way for me to get to number 3 or 4 for my target keyword phrase without adding those 10,000 links that Yahoo Site Explorer is indicating they have?
I think there probably is. I mean, I don't know what industry you're talking about, but if there's a way to really create link-worthy content somehow, that can really be out there and that everybody in the industry.
I knew you were going to say that, Jill.
I know, I'm predictable. But that again, that's the hard work.
It is the hard work, yeah.
And you see there's a few outstanding companies out there that do that kind of stuff, and nobody
that generate link-worthy content.
No, I mean
build links.
companies that actually are great companies that people want to link to because they're just awesome, because there's always something interesting on their site. And
do you have a personal philosophy on link building, or do you?
That's my personal philosophy, is to
just generate the content.
Yeah, have, and I don't mean just write blog posts or whatever, but you have to write outstanding stuff. That's you have to have a voice of the company. You have to stuff that people will keep wanting to come back to. And
now, from a purely pragmatic standpoint, have you seen any benefit with artificial link building, if you want to call it that?
I actually stay out of the link building side of things more. We sort of just outsource that to experts in the field. I'm much more on page stuff. I hate the whole link building thing because I really believe that you shouldn't have to be doing link building.
Are there people who do it well?
Yeah, I mean, there's people like Deborah Massler from Alliance Link, Eric Ward, some of the top people in the industry that know how to do it. And these days, really, social media marketing is where it's at as well. The women from Outspoken Media, I mean, I don't know if you guys read Lisa Barone at Outspoken Media. She's one. They do it right on their blog because Lisa's writing every day, amazing content. You have to have great writers, and they get millions of links just for themselves, but I'm sure they do it for clients as well. You have to have an amazing writer who can give a voice to the company that everyone else in the industry goes to read because they're so good. I don't know how you do that for a company that makes cardboard boxes, though. It's not. That's where you have to get creative. Or maybe you don't need as many links, so that's what you do. I don't know. But the linking, that's not my. Sorry, that's not my. Expertise, and I hate having anything to have to do with it personally, but you do have to.
But it is a reasonable assumption that to start really ranking better one way or the other, you have to be at least in the same ballpark, inbound link-wise.
Well, no, because it's not the number of links. So if they're getting 1,000 low-quality links and they're having to do this spam every day, every week, or whatever it is, if you get a couple of good links from the New York Times or something like that because you're quoted there, those few, a handful of links could be worth way more. But it's hard to get good anchor text on those links too. And that's another problem with Google too, that they put so much stock in that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So yeah, it's not just the quantity. But I don't know what you were paying, what you were getting for the $500 a month. I mean, if they're just doing article submissions or
It was article submissions, and the articles only ended up on article submissions.
Yeah,
sites.
and that's not going to get you.
And PR links, blog comments, and a lot of them were no follow, and a lot of them had no page rank. And I know you don't pay attention to page rank,
That's spam. I mean, I think it works a little bit until it gets caught up. Like I said, you have to keep doing it, and then it goes, or it won't count anymore because all those blog posts get buried until when the next ones come in.
Mm-hmm.
They're no longer on the front page or anything.